I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I like bread. I like eating quality gourmet bread. But there's a problem that I face every day. I live in a typical car-centric American suburb, and all the grocery stores near me only sell disgusting fake bread with sugar in it. Disgusting! Seriously, why do they put sugar in bread here? Look at this ingredients list. How is this normal? But anyway, how capitalism ruined bread is a topic for another video. For now, I must turn to the last bastions of quality baked goods, local bakeries and bread stores. And just a few light rail stops away from me is a locally owned bakery. So that's problem solved, right? All I need to do is get on the train, ride it west, and then walk down to the bread store. Not so easy though, because there is a highway in between the station and the bread store. This highway, known as 6th Avenue, runs from Golden to downtown Denver, and it is roads like this across the entire United States that make our cities uncrossable and severely limit the functionality of our public transit services, when many businesses that would have been easily accessible from the rail station are now nearly impossible to get to. And these massive concrete roads, which could be considered freedom to anyone in a car, but are near uncrossable walls to everyone else. However, despite these numerous blockades, I'm still going to try. So, let's get on this train here and see just how ridiculous today's journey will be. Welcome to Why American City Planning Sucks.
Thank you for riding RTD Light Rail.
After a nice quick ride on the W line, I made it to the Jeffco Government Center station, which is the final station on the line because the W doesn't actually go all the way into Golden. Neither does the G line, but that's a story for another day as well. This station is one of the best on the network to show how many of RTD's stations are severely limited by car-centric infrastructure surrounding their site. So, as usual, let's get an overview of the station grounds. Here we have the station platform and the Jeffco Government Center, after which the station is named. Then we have this new development of apartments that were built after the W line was completed, and a pedestrian bridge linking the area together. These two areas are the only two easily accessible sites from the station, well, I guess if you don't count all the parking lots. And here you can also see the main detractor of the station's accessibility, the aforementioned 6th Avenue. The pedestrian bridge here is the only easy way to cross this barrier, and while I'm glad that it's here, it doesn't solve the issues created by the very existence of this highway. To show this, let's take a quick detour up to this pedestrian bridge. Yeah, I always love to see these sections where they design a very angular walking path and then everyone just takes the shorter route, this unofficial dirt path to the bridge. Up on the bridge, I could see that it's routinely used by both bikers and pedestrians alike, and this bridge is integral to the functionality of the station, because the station would be far more isolated if this crossing didn't exist. The bridge also has a unique design allowing easy biking along this rectangular ramp, while also featuring stairs in the middle for pedestrians. This is overall a great design, and I don't think I've seen this anywhere else in the city, as other similar bridges are usually far less space efficient. Good job, RTD, and it appears there were dozens of people utilizing the light rail, even on an idle weekend like today. Probably because the train is really easy to use if you're going to this area specifically. That's the issue though. What if your destination, or point of origin, is not these two specific places? What if you're like me and need to get to a more distant location? That's where the glaring flaws with this station's land usage become far more evident. Well, I went up to go get that shot off the bridge of the highway, and the train has still not left. Taking the informal route because no one's gonna walk all the way over there and then all the way around and then back. You just build paths that go to where you're going straight. This is an access to a parking lot here, I guess. This is, I think, one of the older lots for the government center. That is a lot of high voltage. So I began my journey to the bread store, and the first step is to walk around this giant multi-level parking garage to get to the intersection of 6th and Johnson Avenue. On the way, I happened to walk by this sign that indicates this is, in fact, a park and ride, as if the enormous parking garage with the RTD logo on it wasn't evidence enough. Even the sign for this station was designed to be read from the inside of a car. So this is the path to the bread store. Informal path. Grasshoppers. Look at that, the paved path. They want you to walk down this road, all the way around by the stop sign, turn here, and then walk this long loop up. Why would you do that? Just, like, walk through the dirt here. I swear second graders would design a better walking route. All of these badly designed and inefficient walking paths are just further indication that the entire site of this station was built with cars as priority, and the planners gave little thought about how to get around once you get out of your car. Anyway, despite the inefficient route, I had made it to the intersection, and oh boy, what a mess. 6th Avenue is by most definitions a highway, similar in design to an interstate. But through this one section in West Lakewood, there are a couple traffic lights where 6th becomes a weird hybrid of a strode before once again becoming a completely separated highway. This is a stupid and dangerous design, as the cars that are stopping at these intersections are coming off of dangerously high speeds they will return to once the light turns green. Oh yeah, and the road to the south is also the off-ramp of an interstate, so there's that. This intersection is only saved from being one of the deadliest in the state simply because basically nobody walks around here, so there are very few pedestrians to hit. This is quite ironic as it is less than 200 meters from a train station. All of the other people I saw crossing here were bikers coming off of this fairly hidden bike trail that just ends at the intersection with no forewarning. Everything about this spot just screams danger, especially since the cars coming in from the west are coming off a bend, further reducing visibility as they approach this junction. Alright, that's half of it. This is to cross here. Better pedestrian infrastructure needs to be built here for basic public safety, the most important of which being either a pedestrian tunnel or bridge allowing this intersection to be bypassed entirely. This crossing will save lives. Why does it not already exist? There are many reports showing that the Denver Metro has some of the deadliest intersections for pedestrians in the entire country. This problem is often chalked up to just bad drivers on the road, but the real problem is the terrible intersection design that is practically begging to get people killed. And the final nail in the coffin, the capper to this ludicrous abomination of everything wrong with American city planning, is this. This is a section that shouldn't even exist. You can push the button to cross back, but there is no other way to cross here. It's impossible. There's no other way. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, we're gonna probably wait. There's no cars right now, so let's run, jog across the turn lane here, and hop the stupid thing. Alright, now we just gotta make our way down, oh Jesus, past whatever the hell that thing is, the weeds, and the trash. I am very close to slipping here. I should have brought my hiking shoes. Let me bring my hiking shoes to get to a bread store. Yep, the pedestrian crossing here just ends at a triangle of concrete, and there is no other way to progress besides running across a lane of active traffic. And the thing is that this turn lane is completely pointless. There aren't any other turn lanes on any of the other 3 sides of this intersection, so why here? This is worthless and dangerous. Additionally, there needs to be a designated crossing on this side of the intersection, and I have no idea why there isn't one. Maybe they ran out of paint or something. It wouldn't surprise me. Alright, I made it down the hill. Okay, that was the hardest part. I guess actually, no, that was the second hardest part. We gotta walk through the tall grass here. Now past that final hurdle, it was just a short walk through the business park and I was at the bakery. It only took 30 minutes to walk the equivalent of 3 blocks and one of the most infuriating walking experiences of my entire life. Thank you. One question. Do you think anyone has ever taken the light rail here from the Golden Station? There's no crossing, so I just wanted to know if anyone else has ever done this.
I don't think so. No one's ever came in and...
Yeah, well. Anyway, have a good one. Thank you. We've got bread. Now to walk this way. Only. That's a pretty wild sign. That could be an album cover.
This is completely unreviewable trash.
Now all I had to do was walk back the way I came, which in this case is much easier said than done. Alright, it does seem more gradual at this angle. I went down kind of a steep side, but there's a guy that drives by our house at 2 in the morning, and I hope I don't trip. Keep walking. Ugh. This is silly. This is just silly. Alright, now I'm walking back. Just gotta step over all of the things. Ugh. Ugh. Just gotta step, oh, that one I could step around. Well, at least you can step around these ones. How about the trash? Oh yeah. You love to see it. You love to see it. Okay. There's no cars. Run! And we gotta push the button across. And now we wait. On the way, I noticed another informal walkway, which could guide me on a faster path back to the station. Alright, we're gonna see where this dirt path goes. Might be a shortcut. Who knows? We're on an adventure to get back to the train. This is kind of steep. Hello, little butterfly. Look at you. You are very pretty. Okay, so this is where the dirt path led out. Onto a wide bridge. Where does this go? That doesn't go to the station. This path, oh, the informal path. Here's the dirt one. No one's gonna walk that way. This is faster. Milkweed. Only at the most logical and well-planned train stations will you see someone walking through a parking garage's 2nd or 3rd floor with a bag of bread that's about to tear, walking to a station that is just completely surrounded on all sides by barriers. Push the button, put the bread. Wait, no, I need to go down. God, what am I doing? No access. Ha! Yeah, right. Ha! Here comes the train. And after that overwhelming experience, it was nice to hear the familiar sound of the light rail pulling into the station, as I was more than ready to leave this absolute mess of a site. Yeah, everything about this station is just... it's just dumb. Why would you build a station like this? You have to try to make it this inaccessible, this badly laid out. You have to try. This is effort. This requires effort. It's just dumb.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb, it's
brilliant.
No! It's just dumb!
So, what have we learned? Well, the most obvious takeaway is that surrounding our train stations with dangerous and barricading car-centric infrastructure is a great way to make a useless transit system. And while yes, frequency should be increased across the RTD network, the more important near-future changes that need to be made have almost entirely to do with land use around stations. Frequent transit services are useless when stuff like this remains in the way. 6th Avenue is dangerous and hard to cross at a designated intersection, let alone everywhere else. Nearby Red Rocks College Station has no pedestrian underpass or bridge, making it effectively impossible to reach the north side of the highway from this station. And just look at this atrocious land management around here. How does anyone use this station? Why even build a station here if you're not going to try to make it even remotely usable? In episode 1 of this series, I made a similar point about land usage using County Line Station as an example. However, in that episode I focused more on the issues of the park and ride system specifically, which is a much easier issue to solve. In order to improve a worthless park and ride, all you really need to do is rezone its parking lot for mixed-use development. This can be done by the transit network itself, but in order to fix a station like Jeffco Government Center, major systematic changes must be made to allow for the prioritization of transit. Now, I'm not saying that the government center isn't surrounded by parking lots, and in fact it's one of the station's biggest problems because there's little room for infill development. Across most of the country, minimum parking requirement laws enforce this norm, even for new developments near transit. Luckily, these laws are due to be removed, or at least become less strict, as just this year a few cities in Colorado made several changes to state planning codes that relax the restrictions on minimum parking requirements or just outright remove them. Here's a couple news clips showing the push to relax these oppressive restrictions that only exist to keep our cities as car-centric as possible.
New this morning, Longmont doing away with parking requirements for new buildings.
Yeah, this is a big deal for folks that live out in that area.
According to energy groups, this is actually the first city in our state to do something like this. So
most local governments have a mandated minimum number of parking spaces that have to be installed with every new development. Sometimes it's a reasonable number. Frequently, it is more than the demand actually calls for.
Governor Polis signing a similar measure that did away with minimum parking requirements specifically for multi-family housing that is going up in areas that are next to bus stops or RTD stations.
I would really like to see the state and our local governments meet in the middle somewhere and agree that we're going to find a better path forward that doesn't involve automatically centering cars in all things.
Seems pretty reasonable. Let's see what the comments have to say. Oh dear.
People spending money drive cars. You wonky communist.
So people that don't drive cars just don't spend any money? What? Oh, okay.
You cannot support an entire downtown solely with people that live within walking distance.
Except for all the places where they do exactly that. And maybe not everyone lives perfectly within walking distance. But there's a solution for this, and I don't know if you've heard of it. It's this little thing we call transit. And of course, you know, this is just a YouTube comment section on a video from Fox News, but it does show that there are people this clueless. They're out there. Though aside from that vocal yet ignorant minority, it appears that most Coloradans are fine with this change, especially when knowing that the law doesn't ban parking. It just removes the minimum amount of parking spaces that must exist on site, giving developers more freedom, you could say, to build in a less car-centric manner. This law change doesn't fix everything, though it is a step in the right direction. As distracted as this segment has been, my main point here is that further disincentivization of car usage through the removal of laws enforcing car-centrism will inversely benefit transit. And even if you don't take transit, it's still worth advocating for these changes. Drivers complain about traffic all the time, yet many don't realize that transit is the solution to traffic, not widening the road. Induced demand has proven that building more lanes will never fix traffic, but getting people out of cars and into trains is the way to go. Transit is also far safer than driving, so the best way to reduce needless vehicle casualties is to invest in better public transport. Let's get back to the government center station. Here's how I would improve the station by making it accessible from all its surroundings and expanding its reach. First, let's install another pedestrian and biking bridge here, allowing this intersection to be bypassed. This is mainly so that bikers on this trail can get right to the station without having to wait at a crosswalk. Next, walking paths should be put here and here to connect this neighborhood to the station, as well as in a few other places such as here to improve accessibility overall. After that, I put in a wide median along 6th, creating a refuge island for pedestrians on these two sides of the intersection. That way, the pedestrians only have to cross 2 lanes of traffic at one time. I also think that this entire section of 6th, from Heritage Road all the way to the junction of I-70, should be turned from 2 lanes into 1 lane and have the new lanes be painted thinner to make drivers go slower. The speed limit on this road is 45 miles per hour, but due to its shape and wide lanes, drivers go much faster than that. These changes would make 6th a much safer road to be around and will not massively impact travel times by car. The freed up space from these changes will allow for the creation of a semi-BRT running from Golden to the Government Center station and south to Red Rocks Amphitheater. This service will feature dedicated lanes along Johnson Road, which is also way wider than it needs to be, 6th Avenue, small section of Heritage Road, then dedicated lanes on Colfax, and up at Red Rocks Amphitheater, this pretty useless top circle lot will now just be a bus drop-off zone. The perfect BRT for concert goers. Let me switch the map here. This on-ramp is useless as there's already a left turn lane at the intersection here. Let's remove this ramp and use the freed up space as a station for this BRT, as well as coach buses going up to the mountains. Here we have the platform for the eastbound buses and the westbound buses, plus a new lane that kind of diverges away from 6th Avenue and a crossing to easily connect in with the train station. This design will make transferring from the train to the bus or vice versa a trivially easy task. In the more distant future, it would be great if this entire section of highway was removed, freeing up more than 50 acres of space for transit-based development, and the car traffic that runs on this current section could easily reroute along other nearby roads, of which there are many. Also, this section of parking lots for the government center could be redeveloped into something more useful. The government center would probably be against this, however, because disincentivizing car use near transit is seen as outlandish in this city, though one way to get this to happen would be to dedicate a few hundred spaces in the park and ride garage to government center parking. The RTD garage here is never even close to full, so this would be a much more efficient use of parking space. And finally, the W line from Federal Center to Jeffco Government Center should be made 2 tracks wide, allowing for increased frequency of 1 train every 10 to 15 minutes on the whole line. This sounds like a lot of work for one station, but it's really not, and the expenses would be well worth it, especially with this BRT creating a reliable transit connection to Red Rocks and downtown Golden. Like I've said before, we're already mostly there. We have the W line. All we need to do now is make our stations more accessible. These functional changes will have a much more dramatic effect on ridership numbers in the short term than anything else. If these changes were made, I definitely would prefer to take the train here over driving, especially for a routine task such as buying bread. However, in its current state, I am unable to use the W line in this way, as it is too dangerous and time-consuming thanks to pointless and replaceable car-centric infrastructure. Ridiculous, but that's just another day on today's RTD. Now that I've made it back home in one piece with delicious, locally sourced gourmet bread, I can enjoy my sandwich with another slice of toast and homemade choke cherry jam. But nobody wants to watch me eat, so this is where the episode comes to a close. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next installment where I visit 2 neighboring stations along the Southeast Corridor, each representative of both the good and bad of station design and land usage. Bye.